Despite what Ted Cruz says, you heard him there, this is still technically a three-man race. So what was the biggest surprise of the night? Our political panel here to weigh in, senior political reporter for LifeZette, Ashley Pratt, and Republican strategist and former communications aide to the McCain-Palin campaign, Boris Epshteyn. Thank you both for joining us.
Of course.
Very exciting night. We're still waiting for Missouri. You heard Ted Cruz speaking there. He's already declaring that it is a two-man race, but there are three still in the race. So, Ashley, what's your biggest surprise? Anything that surprised you?
It's not surprising that Marco Rubio lost Florida. I think it was upsetting more than anything the margin that he lost by. I do think the biggest surprise there, however, was that he did come out and suspend his campaign, something that no one was really expecting given the fact that he said he would be staying in this race until the convention, even if he lost his home state of Florida. So I do think that was the biggest surprise out of the night. But again, I think very much this is a two-man race, even though Kasich is still in one Ohio. At this point, again, Marco Rubio, I think biggest surprise of the night was that he dropped out because he did say that he would get in his pickup truck and drive around the country, even if his campaign was coasting on fumes.
Said specifically that he was going to go straight to Utah, and he really did wrap it up very quickly this evening. He said, you know, he's out. So, Boris, what was your biggest surprise?
Well, that was actually a good move by Rubio. My biggest surprise, well, and I think the person who was most surprised was Marco Rubio. He did not expect to lose by as much as he did, and he got absolutely crushed in his home state of Florida. What a turnaround from the election that he had in 2010 to the senatorial position. So he was surprised. I was not surprised by much. I did expect for him to drop out once it was clear that he was going to lose right by about 20. And if you do that, there's not much path forward if you lose your home state. Now, the way he dropped out was smart because now he can turn his sights onto his own future. He's only 44, 45 years old. He's got a lot to look forward to, and Americans do love a comeback story. So I believe the biggest surprise was on the part of Marco Rubio. Not a huge surprise for me, however.
And then the question is, Boris, where do his delegates go?
History so far in this primary has shown that most delegates go to Donald Trump. When Jeb Bush dropped out, people thought, hey, maybe the delegates would go to Marco Rubio. They did not. They went to Donald Trump. Chris Christie's delegates, again, Donald Trump. So I think you're going to see a lot of that support go to Donald Trump. And again, if you look at the numbers in Florida, you're seeing support for Donald Trump across age, income, education. It was so widespread.
Ashley, that actually goes to our next question. What is the key to the Republican nomination now, or is it a done deal?
It's not a done deal, I don't think, yet. But I would say one thing in response to what Boris said. Last night, Rubio's policy director, one of his aides on the campaign, actually came out and tweeted that their support should now go to Senator Ted Cruz if they wanted to stop Donald Trump. So I do think that delegates, if Rubio still wants to remain in this somehow to take down Donald Trump, I think that would be convincing delegates to go for Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz is the only one who's still viable, I believe, in this election to Donald Trump.
But he hasn't even won a state. He hasn't even won a state yet.
Well, so the thing is, Ted Cruz has been able to pick up a majority of delegates in 4 states so far, even though he's won 8.
In 8 states to be viable.
Right, and I said even though it's 8, so he has 4. If he continues to go on and is able to win in Utah, the path is a little bit unclear for him going forward, but he does have enough delegates to continue on in this race, unlike John Kasich, who was only able to win 1 state.
We have to wrap it up, Boris. Final thought.
2 things. One, Rubio's voters, Rubio's supporters are not going to necessarily listen to Rubio's people about who they vote for. They've chosen to buck the establishment so far, Republican voters have.
But if they vehemently don't like Donald Trump, then...
Hold on 1 second.
And 2, of course, if Cruz wins all the states from here on out, he'll be the nominee. It's not going to happen. Donald Trump's our nominee. And we should be happy about that.
All right, Ashley, Boris, we will have you back, so hold on.